Hey Disney Cruisers, and welcome back to the DCL community where we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for your Disney cruise. You guys know me. I'm Rebecca, your host and admin of the DCL community. And today I am so excited because we are talking all things Disney Cruise Line 101. These are all the basics that you should know before you get on board, even before you book your Disney cruise, because these are things that you're going to hear people talking about, you're going to have questions about, but we have you covered. So as you're coming in, please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from so that we can say hi. But as people are coming in, Megan, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. So do you want to go to the next slide if you can?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So my name is Megan Farwell. I am a travel agent with Waves and Wonder Travel. And I specialize in booking Disney cruises, especially for families. I have 3 kids myself. They are currently 12, 9, and 5. And we've sailed on all the Disney ships, sailed on most of the itineraries. And the reason I kind of wanted to do this is I had a client who was interested in a Disney cruise, and I kind of jumped in and I was like, okay, you can do an ocean view stateroom on deck 9 midship. And she was like, whoa, 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 whoa. She's like, I've never stepped foot on a cruise ship. She's like, I appreciate what you're saying. She's like, I just have no clue what you're talking about. So that's
Yes.
really kind of like what put the idea in my head of like people that have never, they've never cruised. Maybe this is the very first time they've even thought about cruising. So they just have no point of reference for what it's even like to cruise with Disney. So that's kind of why I decided to do this topic.
Oh, it's such a good point because, we talk about it all the time. And I see
Right.
friends joining us from the West Coast, friends who are on board right now. Hey, yo. Friends from New Jersey. We take it for granted because we talk
Right.
in this language all the time. But for a first-time cruiser, it can be so overwhelming. Just like what is midship? What is forward? What is
Right.
what's better? So we are going to talk through all of these things. If you have any questions as we're going through, please put them in the comments so that we can do our best to get to all of them. But of course, if you are ready to plan your Disney cruise, you're going to see how much Megan knows about this cruise line and how much experience she has. Reach out to her. Let her help you in your planning. Her planning services are totally free for you to utilize. So let her help you so that you're not stressed about all the details that she can take care of. So much of that for you. But let's go ahead and dive into some of these, like the DCL Dictionary, if you will.
Yes. So you'll probably, if you're in the group, the Facebook group, you'll probably see these used a lot and you're just like, what does all this stuff mean? So
Yeah.
of course, DCL, Disney Cruise Line, that's the most obvious. CC, so that can be Castaway Club or Castaway Key. It's kind of used interchangeably. Sometimes you might have to use like context clues to figure out which one people are talking about.
Yeah.
And most of these I do talk about later, like a little bit more in depth also. KTTW, so that's Key to the World. That stands for your Key to the World card. PAT, port arrival time. This is the time that you are supposed to arrive to the port, and you pick that when you do your online check-in. PIF, pay in full. That's the date that you have to have your cruise totally paid in full to Disney. FE is fish extender. That's kind of like a cruiser-led gift exchange among cabins. People talk about that a lot, and that's one thing people get really confused about. They're like, what is this and how do I do it?
Yes.
BBB, that's Bibbies Boutique. So they have these in the parks and they also have them on the cruise ship. So those are like the salons for the kids where they can get princess makeovers or the night makeovers, pirate makeovers, all that stuff. GTY, so this is guarantee rate. This is just like a special rate that Disney offers sometimes when the stateroom categories are getting close to selling out. So they can't really let you pick a specific stateroom. So you just pick your category. So like Ocean View, and then they will assign a stateroom to you at a later time. MDR is main dining room, and then TA is travel agent. So yeah, those are just some of the common ones that I see a lot. I don't know if you can think, this was all I could think of, but there might be more.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only other one that's coming to mind right now is maybe what we talked about last month is the Marvel Day at Sea. Sometimes people call it like MD AS.
Yeah.
Yes. So, some of those themed sailings that might have abbreviations. I know the Pixar one did too. We're not seeing that come back quite yet.
Hoths, Hoths, Halloween
Oh,
on the high seas. Yeah.
yes, there you go. Another great one. So there's a lot of these kind of buzzwords, but that's another great reason to have a travel agent or a TA in your back pocket. And I will say that pay in full date, you do not want to miss it. And
That's
it's
right.
different depending on when you're booking and what you're booking and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So making sure you know when that is very important, but also knowing where you're staying on the
Yeah.
ship.
So
So
these
let's
are
dive into these.
some more common terms that you might hear. So forward is the front of the ship, aft is the back of the ship, midship is the middle of the ship. So this is kind of important because when you're in the app, if you're on the ship and you're in the app and you're looking at activities, they will give you locations, but they typically phrase it with these terms. So they might say, Mickey greeting, atrium midship or deck 4 midship. So you're like, okay, where's that? So that kind of gives you some idea of what they're talking about there. Starboard, if you're facing forward, that's the right side of the ship. And port, if you're facing forward, is the left side of the ship. And then embarkation is when you board the ship at the start of your cruise. And debarkation is when you get off the ship at the end of your cruise, which is also the saddest day of your cruise.
Ever. Tears, immediate tears. And don't worry, you do not have to have these things memorized as far as the ship map goes. They have maps all over the ship. The crew is super helpful. But I feel like, Megan, you tell me if you feel differently, but after, a couple of days on board, you just know where to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they have especially because they tend to do a lot of the same types of activities in the same places. So trivia is typically in one or two different lounges. So tons of the character meet and greets take place in the main atrium. So you'll get really used to it really quickly.
Such a good point. Oh, the documents question. I'm so glad you included this.
So I just did it for closed loop courses. There's a lot of nuance that goes into this based on what kind of cruise you have booked. But that's why, if you have a travel agent, they can help you with what you need. But so closed loop cruises, that's where you leave from one port and you come back to the same port. So Port Canaveral, if you leave from there and you also return to Port Canaveral, that's a closed loop cruise. So for that, you would either need any one of these 4 bullet points. You don't have to have all of them. You can just pick one. So most people, they either have a birth certificate with a photo ID or they have their passport. So I definitely recommend passport. It just makes it easier if something, heaven forbid, were to happen in an international port and you need to get home. Passport is definitely going to make your life much, much easier. So, yeah.
Yes, could not agree more. And CC is asking, I have a passport, but my kid doesn't. He's 6. Does he need one?
As long as it's a closed loop cruise, he would not. So not everybody has to have the same type of documentation. Some people can have passports. Some people can cruise with birth certificates within the same party, within your same family. And that's fine. So that would be fine.
Got it. And remind me, can I have a photocopy or do I need the original?
Nope. So I'm glad you brought this up because this is one thing Disney just changed 2 weeks ago, probably. They did used to accept copies of your birth certificate, but they do not any longer. You have to have the official birth certificate, state issued with the seal, the raised seal on it. So it can be what they call a certified copy, but the main thing is that raised seal that you would get from your county health department or whatever.
Okay, good to know. And do I actually have to bring these on the cruise or is it just for check-in?
Yep. So you will upload them at check-in, pictures of them, but you also have to have them on your person at the cruise port to board the ship. So definitely make sure you bring these with you.
Yes. So important. They check it as soon as you get into the port, so don't leave those behind.
Okay, so here's just the basics about the ships. They currently have 5 ships. The Magic and Wonder are sister ships. The Fantasy and Dream are sister ships. And then the Wish is the new class of ship that they have. And then they're coming out with 2 more ships very soon. The Treasure comes out in December of this year. And then the Destiny comes out in November of next year. So the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny will all be sister ships as well. And then beyond that, so that's 7. I think they've announced 6. I think there's a total of 13 so far that they've announced for the next.
Yeah, the Adventure is the mega one, and then another 4, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
they have a lot of ships coming.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm
Me
like, what
too.
else are they gonna do that we haven't even thought of
I
yet?
know. Okay, and where do they sail? So Disney sails all over the world: Alaska, Bahamas, Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico, New Zealand and Australia, Pacific Coast, Panama Canal, South Pacific, and Transatlantic. So pretty much Africa, Antarctic, like that's,
Yes.
they sail all over the world. So you can find a cruise forever, pretty much wherever you want to go.
And I know we have a lot of people asking about the next batch of itineraries for 2026. The best way to figure out when those are going to come out, get with Megan, get on her mailing list. And that way, as soon as those itineraries hit, she can let you know when the booking window opens, and can take care of sitting on hold with Disney for 85,000 years.
Yes.
Well, everyone else is booking too. But there are some awesome places. And you've been to so many of these with your
Yep.
family. So you can help with excursion recommendations for kids or
Yep.
for just adults. So I love that. Oh, Castaway Club. Yes, I'm so glad you brought this one up.
Okay, so Castaway Club, you'll hear this talked about a lot. What is it? It's basically Disney Cruise Line's loyalty program. You get automatically enrolled after you take your first cruise. And so there are some perks associated with it. And the first few, so I should put the levels on here. So there's silver, gold, platinum, and pearl. So you're automatically silver after your first cruise. After 5 cruises, you're gold. After 10 cruises, you're platinum. And after 25 cruises, you are pearl. So um, some of those, like the Palo dinner and photo package, those only are for platinum, I believe. And then photo packages for pearl. So, but all the other ones, everybody gets those. So you get to book new itineraries early. You get to book onboard activities and do your online check-in and get your port arrival time early. You get a welcome aboard gift. You have an exclusive check-in line at the terminal. And then with gold and above, you start to get discounts on the merchandise on board. So there are definitely some perks. A lot of it is just being able to book your activities earlier than anybody else. So because some things do sell out. So that's kind of one of the major perks of the
Yes.
Castaway Club.
And if you're freaking out about being a first time cruiser and not getting to book things early, my advice is one, don't freak out because there's so much to do on board that you do not need reservations for. Like so much. I can't even begin to describe. But if that is a serious concern, talk to Megan about concierge because that kind of negates your
Yeah.
status and bumps you out of the line. So reach
Yeah.
out to her about concierge. And Carrie's asking, did you buy that lanyard? So cute.
No, so that is one of the perks. That's part of your onboard gift. Once you are silver, you will get a lanyard every time you cruise. So this is the silver lanyard, and then the gold lanyards are gold. The platinum lanyards are, I think they just came out with new ones. They were more like black colored now. I just saw somebody post a picture of
Yeah.
them. And then the pearl lanyards are like a white, kind of like an off-white color. So they are very cute though. Yes.
Yes, the glow up of them ever
Yeah.
since, we came back post pandemic. They are so cute. And yeah, these are going to be waiting for you in your staterooms. I know we'll get the question of, I'm a first time cruiser. I'm not going to get one. Should I buy one? What do you think? Are they handy for you and your family? What about for your kids?
They are handy. So another thing, I didn't put this on here, but magic bands are kind of taking away some of the convenience of the lanyards because they're taking the place of what your key to the world card does. So the lanyards are meant to hold your key to the world card. So that's going to be your room card, how you pay for things, how you get on and off the ship. So it is very convenient, especially for kids. If you don't want to have to like hold it for them all the time, they can wear their lanyard and have it with them. But again, magic bands are kind of replacing that slowly. So, but I would still purchase them. You can get very cheap ones on Amazon that are super cute. So I would still have them if I was a first time cruiser.
Yeah, and you can get them in the gift shops on board as well. Part of my family uses them religiously, and part of my family does not. So it's just personal preference. If you want to use magic bands, which are an extra cost, or your key to the world, and somebody's asking, so no gifts for first time cruisers, LOL. No, but it's a great reason to come back.
Yeah.
Great reason. Oh, and let's talk about this key to the world card.
So here's the key to the world card. This one's a little bit older. So I think The dinner and table number, I don't believe that's on there anymore, but pretty much everything else is. So it's going to have your sail date up at the top, the ship that you're on. And then if you're an adult or if you're a minor, that will have an M.
Or if you're 18 to 20, it'll be a B for between.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For your Castaway Club status and number, that will be on there. Like I said, dining time and your table number is no longer on there because it's in the app for you. Your lifeboat station, so that's going to tell you what or they also call it your muster station. That's where you go to do the muster drill, which I talk about in a little bit. If you have your Disney Visa on file, and then also your, if you have any transfers booked with Disney, it will have those on there as well. So kind of, yeah, I think this was a really good representation because there's like all this information on there and you're like, what do all these little letters and numbers mean? But yeah, there it is.
Yes. And, it really is your key to the world on the cruise. You don't have to worry about carrying your ID around the ship.
Right.
You don't have to worry about bringing passports or anything or, credit cards. You just need to have this when you're on board. What about when you get off the ship at ports? Is this all you need or do you need something else?
Yeah. So you need this and an ID to get on and off the ship. And usually there's basically like 2 checkpoints. So again, Magic Band at the Disney checkpoint, you can use your Magic Band instead of the Key to World card. But most ports are also going to have kind of like a checkpoint before you even get back to the dock where you have to basically prove that you are a cruise passenger. So they will want to see your Key to the World card to even get back to the dock, essentially. So definitely want to have it with you when you get on and off at ports.
And someone's asking, do you have to pay for the Key to the World card and the Magic Band?
The Magic Band you do, the Key to the World card is free. So that will be waiting for you at your stateroom when you board the ship.
Yes. Oh, a Navigator app.
Okay, so the Navigator app is DCL's app. Every activity is listed in the app. The daily schedule is listed in the app. You can heart activities and that will send you a reminder. It's just going to be like, your guide on the ship. They used to have paper versions, and I believe you can still get them at guest services if you go and request them, but most people just use the app. It's pretty easy. It has everything that you would need on the ship, and it's going to show your dining rotation, your table number, all that stuff. So
yes. And you have that activity hearted. So what does that mean?
So that means I just want to make sure that I remember to go to that one. So the app is going to send me a notification about 15 minutes prior to when that starts so that it reminds me, hey, you said you wanted to go to this. So get away from the pool and go do this activity that you said you wanted to do.
Yes. I was going to say that moment of truth where you really have to prioritize of, do I want to leave the pool in my comfort to go and do trivia? Do I really want to? And Megan's asking, do you need Wi-Fi to use the app on board, or do you have to pay for Wi-Fi?
So there is free Wi-Fi that only runs the app. So you can connect to the ship Wi-Fi. It will run the app. You do not have to pay for that. If you want to do extra things like use Facebook or check your email, yes, you do have to buy a Wi-Fi package for that, and that is an additional cost.
Yes. And Sarah's asking, what about for kids? Do they have to have their own logon?
No, they don't. So it's more based on your stateroom, not your like a login. So once you get on the ship, the app kind of like changes and everybody makes like their own profile kind of within the app. So yeah, you don't have to have separate logins.
And I'm curious, I know with your oldest, does she have a phone on board that you're able to communicate with her, or how do you stay in touch on board?
So we bought her, the last time we cruised, we bought like an iPhone 8 for like $30 on eBay. So she literally only had it on the ship, but it worked perfect just to have the Navigator app. And you can, another one of the features of the app is you can chat with people on the app. So send messages. So if she was, at Edge, the tween club, she could say, hey, I'm going to leave here and go get some ice cream or whatever. I'll meet you guys back in the room. So that was very nice to be able to talk to her and see what she was doing and all that. So
yeah, just keep in communication while you're both enjoying your vacation.
So Disney's private island, they have 2 right now. One is Castaway Key and one is Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. So that's another question we get all the time is how do you pronounce that? So it is key, not K,
Yes.
even though it looks like K. It's key. It's how
Yes.
they pronounce it in the Bahamas.
Yes.
So this will include a buffet lunch, their beach access, lounge chairs and umbrellas. They have trams that take you around the island, splash pads, and kids clubs, plus more activities. That's not even all of it, but it's a wonderful beach day. You can go and not spend a penny and have an amazing time. So that is a really big perk of cruising with Disney is all the access you get at their private island.
Yes. Oh, Castaway. It's the best place in the entire world. I still have to be the lookout. I have to admit, I'm sure it's wonderful, but right now, Castaway is winning with me. And we've got some questions about the muster drill, so I'm glad that we're talking about this guy next.
So muster drill is a mandatory safety briefing. You have to go to your muster station, which was that big letter that's listed on your key to the world card, and check in with everybody in your stateroom, in your party. So it's not like just the adults can go and the kids don't have to. Nope. Every single person, even babies, have to go to the muster drill.
Yes.
They have all different locations around the ship. Some of them are out on the deck. Sometimes they're in the theater. Sometimes they're in the restaurants. So it's just going to depend to what you're assigned to. I think we've always been out on the deck. I don't think we've ever been lucky enough to be inside, but they will have people, once they announce that it's time for the muster drill, they will have people all over the place asking you to see your card, and they will direct you on how to get to your station. So you don't have to worry about trying to find it by yourself. They have tons of people that will help you find it.
And when Megan says that this is mandatory, it is mandatory. The entire ship shuts down until this is over with. So don't try and sneak out of it. Don't try and not go and hide in your stateroom.
Yeah.
The last 2 cruises we've been on, if you didn't go, if you did not check in, 1, you held up the entire ship while they were trying to get you. So don't be that person. But 2, you then had to make it up later in the cruise.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have to do that. That's more time out of your vacation. And again, there's literally nothing else going on the ship at this time.
They close the pools, they close the
Yes.
slides, they close the kids club, close the food. Like you cannot do anything else. So you might as well just go and get it over with. They will come find you if you do not show up. So just go. It's usually about like 20 minutes, I want to say, if everything's running on time. So
yes, absolutely. And yeah, you could be in the theaters, you could be in the lounges, on deck. It just depends where your stateroom is, and lifeboat capacity and a whole bunch of other things. And someone was asking, where was it? Ed was asking, my son has a severe sound sensitivity. I've heard that it can be loud. Do I have to be worried about him? What would you do?
I would probably bring like the noise canceling headphones because they do blow the ship horn and it can be really loud. So yes, I would bring noise canceling headphones if that's a concern. Yeah.
Awesome. And somebody else is asking about accessibility.
That's a good question. I would assume if you're in a handicap stateroom, they would probably have a handicap accessible muster station for you. But that is definitely something I can research for you if we need to. So, yeah.
Yes. And all the muster stations are going to be on deck 4, right? That's where all the lifeboats would load from. So that's why that is the deck that you're meeting on. You're not up on the pool deck. When we say on deck, we mean the promenade deck around the ship, like the walking track almost. So you can, the doors all open and automatically. So you'd be able to access that. I'm just not sure, with some of the theater locations, there's, room up top. So definitely get with Megan on that one and she can dig into some more of the specifics. But these are great questions, guys. Keep them coming.
Okay. What is a placeholder? So I kind of had one on here that was like, what are some available discounts? And really the truth is there are none other than a placeholder. Disney sales almost full all the time, so they just don't really need to offer discounts. But a placeholder is kind of the one way you can get one. So a placeholder is essentially a booking reservation for a future cruise. You don't have to pick which cruise you want. You're just saying, I want to make a reservation to take a cruise in the future. You purchase it in the app while you are on board your current cruise. So you cannot purchase it after you get off the cruise. So if you forget, Sometimes people have luck with calling like a day or two within when they get off the cruise, but that's not guaranteed whatsoever. So definitely try to do it when you're on the cruise. It costs $250, which the $250 is applied to your deposit for whatever cruise you end up picking, and it gives you a 10% discount on that cruise. So it's, like I said, it's one of the only ways to save money on a cruise. So definitely, if you're on a cruise and you think you want to cruise Disney again, which most people do, make sure you take advantage of this.
Yes. And what if you get married, you have kids, life happens, and you don't use it within the 2-year window? What happens to that money?
If 2 years goes by, the $250 automatically gets refunded. So the $250 is refundable. It just automatically does it if you don't book a cruise within the 2 years. And you can also if you know you're not going to use it, you can also just call them and cancel it and get the $250 refunded. So
yes, although I've never had to give a placeholder back.
I know.
I can't use them fast enough. And are there any, either stateroom categories or blackout dates or anything, guarantee rate rooms? Are there any things where you can't use a placeholder, any reservations?
So you cannot use it on concierge rooms. There are blackout dates, which is usually like right around Christmas, holidays, essentially most of the time. Sometimes on the newest ships, they'll also do things like spring break and stuff like that. But there is a list on the website that tells you exactly what the blackout dates are. So you can look at that before you purchase to make sure, if you have an idea of when you want to go. And then you cannot use it with like the guaranteed restricted rates either. So
yes. And just so everybody knows, so when you're booking this in the app, it's so easy. It's like 4 steps. You say, yes, I want to book a placeholder. Do you want 1 room or 2? And then it says, do you want to use your, current travel agent, or do you want to send this to a travel agent? So it's really easy from that point to send it to Megan or whoever your travel agent is.
Yes.
Make sure though, once you get home, that your travel agent received it. They have to receive it within 30 days of when you do it, when you book the placeholder on board. Again, you don't have to have a date of a cruise chosen, but I've seen it more times than not where the placeholder doesn't get emailed to the travel agent and then you can't work together.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it gets lost on the internet, right? Like technology happens as much as we want it to be perfect. So make sure that it got to your travel agent and that the deposit was paid, your card was actually charged, so that you don't have any problems when you go to want to use the placeholder. And yeah, and you can't use them online, right? You have to call in.
You have to call in once you're ready to convert it to whatever cruise you've decided on, you do have to call, or your travel agent can call. So either way.
I was going to say that's the best part. It's just like you can just text Megan and say, hey, Megan, can we add the placeholder to this at this time? And boom, done. And someone's asking, do you have to say how many rooms you want?
Yes, you do have to pick 1 or 2. Yep.
Yes. And you can't it's not 2 rooms at 2 different times.
Right. They 2 rooms it's only 1 cruise, but you can have 2 rooms on that 1 cruise. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So no more than that. It would be great if you could just buy out the whole deck.
My husband would not like that.
Yeah, that would be the biggest stateroom charge ever. Oh my gosh. But speaking of staterooms, let's go into these room types.
There's 4 different types. There's inside staterooms. They do not have a window. They're interior. Some of the ships do have magic porthole, which I know you just did some videos about the magic porthole. Yeah. It's super cute. They have like little Disney characters swim by and stuff like that. And I think it does help you kind of get that feel that you have a window outside, even if you don't. Yeah. They have ocean view staterooms that have a large window with an ocean view. They have veranda staterooms, which is a stateroom with a balcony attached to your stateroom. And then they have concierge, which are essentially, they have all the way from regular staterooms up to suites. And the concierge portion of it is basically enhanced amenities and service and a little bit nicer looking staterooms as well. So
yeah, if you're interested in getting to know more about these different types of staterooms, definitely reach out to Megan, because there's all those different categories, right? Like 4A, 2B. I still don't know what any
I
of
know,
those
I do. I mostly know it, but yeah.
yeah. But even just like the white wall veranda versus a
Mhm.
regular veranda, obstructed view, what does that actually mean?
Yeah,
So
I was trying to keep it simple for this, but there are even
100
more
yeah.
distinctions within this. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go and try and book this yourself and immediately panic, reach out to Megan, let her help you with all of this coordination. And someone's asking which ship this room is on.
This is on the Wish. Yeah,
Ish, yes.
so the Wish, they kinda changed things up and they put these murals behind the bed. So as of right now, the Wish is the only ship that has, like, that really beautiful artwork behind the bed, and it has a little bit nicer or newer, I guess, should say, finishes in the rooms.
Yep.
So but all the new ships will have that as well.
Yes, it's absolutely beautiful. I
Mhm.
cannot get over all the little details in the staterooms and how they all tied together.
Okay, so this is kind of just like a quick summary. Because again, I had a client, she was like, okay, I want to go on a cruise, but I have no idea what's even like, what am I getting for my money, essentially? So
Yeah.
you're getting your stateroom, along with that includes all the taxes and port fees, room service 24 hours a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the main dining rooms and the buffets, soft drinks that are served at meals or at a beverage station, snacks and ice cream, character meet and greets, access to the kids club, gym facilities, pools, water slides, hot tubs, sport activities, private island, if you go to a private island, and then all the entertainment and trivia and game shows. So there is so much included. You could not do it all, even if you wanted to. So it really is, I think, a great value for what you're getting for your money.
Absolutely, especially when you start breaking down, all the costs for any other type of
Mhm.
vacation, even the parks.
Yeah.
And just jumping back for a second, which ships have the magic porthole?
Um,
I think the Dream and the Fantasy for sure, because that's
yeah,
when they brought it in.
the Wish
The
does not.
Wish does not, yeah. And someone, gosh, I was just on the Magic, but we had a veranda. Somebody will have to let us know if you
Yeah,
sailed on the
I have
Magic. We'll
never had
find
an
it.
inside stateroom on the
Man,
I wanna
they
say
only
they I don't know for sure. That's one
yes,
question I'm not
yes.
sure.
Yes, we can follow up on that one
Yeah.
unless somebody who's watching knows the answer. But we can definitely follow up on that one as well because the Magic and Wonder last year, just so you know, you might not, yeah, for the internet watching, the Magic and Wonder last year went through dry docks, which is
Right.
what the Dream is going through right now. So they made a whole bunch of upgrades and updates. So we'll have to get back to you on the Magic portholes on the classic ships.
Mhm.
Oh yes, what's not
Okay,
included?
so what's not included? So you can see this is a much shorter list than what is included. So any alcoholic beverages, adult-only dining, if you have childcare in the nursery, Olaf's Picnic or the Royal Tea, Bibbidi Boutique, spa and salon services, bingo, port excursions, photography packages, and gratuities. And so I wanted to say the only thing on this list that you have to pay for is gratuities. So you could go on the ship and you can pay for gratuities before you go. So you could go on the ship and literally not spend any more money than what you've already paid. You can do all these
Yeah.
things, but you don't have to. So these are just extras.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, if you're able to walk past the gift shops with kids and not spend money, you have to teach me your ways and how
Yeah,
you do
it's difficult to
that.
not spend
Yeah,
money in the
yes.
gift shops
And
because they do
even
have
for
very cute things.
yes, they have such cute merch, and I tell
Yeah.
myself, I'm not going to," but you just start poking around.
Mhm.
Uh, then somebody else is going back to the placeholder question. If there are 2 of us on the cruise, can we each get a placeholder for 2 rooms?
It's per household.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, you can't if it's like your spouse, no, you can't. Yeah.
Yes, it's just the 2 rooms on the 1 reservation, but I mean, 10% off of 2 rooms, that's pretty significant, so
Mhm.
that's great savings, and yes, I'm so glad you have more on gratuities here because this is
Yeah.
definitely gonna be a follow-up question.
Yeah. So what are gratuities? This is basically like automatic tips that Disney adds to your account, and those go to your stateroom host, your dining room servers, and the assistant servers. Um, it's $14.50 per guest per night. If you're in a standard room, concierge is a little bit more, but they deserve every penny of this and more. They do an
Mhm.
amazing job. They're going to take care of you.
Yes.
So yeah, and you can pay for them before the cruise or they can be added when you're on the cruise. So there's no advantage to doing either way. It's just whatever you prefer to do.
Yes. And, I love paying for it ahead of time because I can just tell my travel agent, just, add it to the total, and it kind of
Right.
gets it factored into the monthly payment for the cruise. But I will say, if, you get amazing service, which I have no doubt you will on board, if you want to add more, you do get little envelopes at the end of the cruise that you can always put cash into, or you can go to guest services and add incremental amounts for the amazing team taking care of you. But my pro tip is always don't go the last night, because that is when the line is a mile long.
Everybody has the same idea, so they're all there. Yeah.
Yes, go the night before or the morning before the last day, because you will be waiting in line for a while.
Okay, so how does dining work? So Disney, if you've cruised on other cruise lines, you might be familiar with how they do dining, but actually Disney does it a little differently. So Disney has 3 main dining rooms on every ship, and you will be assigned to one of those each night, but you will get to go to all 3 for sure. And then if you have like a 4-night cruise, you're going to repeat one of the restaurants. If you have a 5-night cruise, you'll repeat 2 of the restaurants, and so on. Your servers go with you to every restaurant, so you always have the same servers taking care of you. So like a lot of cruise lines, like Royal Caribbean, for example, they only have 1 main dining room. So you go to the same dining room every night. And Disney's not like that. They have 3. They're all themed pretty much. Some of them have shows during dinner. So it's really a different dining experience than you might be used to if you've cruised on other cruise lines.
And you can order as much food as you would like.
Yep.
It's probably more food, your eyeballs are going to pop out. I mean, it's so much food.
And they encourage you to, like, usually our servers are always like, oh, would you like to try every dessert on the menu? And I'm like, well, I guess if you're going to force me, I guess I will.
Twist my arm.
Yeah.
And what about for breakfast, lunch, snacks? What about that?
So they have a buffet on the 4 classic ships. It's called Cabanas. And on the Wish, it's called Marceline's Market. So that will be open for breakfast and lunch. The buffet is not open for dinner. Again, that's another difference from some of the other cruise lines, like Royal Caribbean, the buffet is open. Disney, it is not. So they have the buffets, and then usually 1 or 2 of the main dining rooms will also be open for a sit-down breakfast and lunch. And then they have like quick service out on the pool deck, which is like burgers and chicken fingers and pizza and stuff like that also. So there is so much food. You could literally eat all day if you wanted to.
Yes, especially with room service too. You can just be in bed eating cookies in the middle of the night. And room service is included on Disney cruises.
It is.
So pro tip. And you have the 2 dining times here. I know we'll get questions about like which dining time is better, which, now you can choose what area of the dining room. I always say don't worry about that question because there's no bad tables. But if you're trying to figure out which dining time is best, reach out to Megan. Depending on where your family is located and where you're cruising from, how old your kids are, there's a lot of factors that can go into that. So get with her and she can kind of help guide you on which dining time might be best.
Yeah.
And someone was asking, do you need to make reservations for dinner each night?
You do not. Again, a difference from some of the other. Disney doesn't have, like, they call it my time dining on Royal and other cruise ships, where you just kind of like show up whenever you want or you make reservations for it. Disney does not have that. So you'll either be first dining or second dining, but you do not have to make reservations, but you do have to come to that set dining time every night. And you pick that before when you book your cruise. So.
And someone's asking, is room service open until what time?
It's like midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning. It's late.
Yeah. So room service is 24/7 except for that last night when it closes at like, I want to say 12 or 1 because they're trying to prep the kitchen to turn over. So room service, you can literally get warm cookies and milk delivered to you in the middle of the night if you want, which I would recommend. And Mickey bars. Why not? Oh, I love Donald in that outfit. Okay,
so characters. This is a major part of being on a Disney cruise ship. And a lot of times people say, what kind of characters can I meet? Every cruise ship's going to have the Fab Five. They're going to have princesses. And then some additionals that you might meet are Stitch, Captain Hook and Smee, Peter Pan, different Marvel characters, Woody and Jesse. And there's even more that I'm not
Yeah.
thinking of, I'm sure. There are a ton of characters. It's amazing.
Yes. I was
And they
gonna say,
all do meet and greets. You can hug them, get photos, get signatures. So all of that, like you would in the parks or wherever.
yes. And if you are a Marvel fan, go back to our last video on the DCL community YouTube page. Megan did a whole video on Marvel Day at Sea and all the characters that she got to see, and it blew my mind. So go back and watch that for sure. And someone's asking, do you have to make reservations to see these characters? How do you book those?
No. So I'm going to say 99% of them you do not, because there's one exception, which we're going to talk about later. But no, they will have scheduled times listed in the app. So they'll say like Mickey at 4 p.m. in the atrium, and you just show up at 4 p.m. and there will be a line that's formed usually, and then Mickey comes out and you get to meet Mickey. So it's very easy. You just show up at the time and the place where it says they will be.
Beautiful. Yes, they make it super, super easy. Oh, Kids
So
Club.
what's
Yes.
the kids club? So there are 4 different levels or like age ranges of kids clubs that Disney has available. It's a Small World Nursery is for ages 6 months to 3 years. Oceaneers Club or Oceaneers Lab is for ages 3 years to 10 years. Edge is for 11 to 14, and then Vibe is 14 to 17. So you do not need reservations. That's a common question, is like, do I have to reserve times? No, they're just drop off. So whenever you feel like showing up, take your kid and drop them off. It's awesome. It's very hard to get your kids out of there because they're so much fun. And this is totally included. You do not have to pay anything extra other than the nursery. That's the one that does have an extra charge. But just the regular kids clubs for ages 3 to 17, those are all included in the cruise fare.
Love that. Yeah, and you are not kidding. You have to sometimes drag your kids out of there.
Yeah.
The counselors are so amazing. They make space goo, like Stitch's space goo. They do all sorts of
kinds of
crafts.
There will be
games.
scheduled activities. There'll be free play and just like free time, but there's also certain scheduled activities that you will see in the app. So if you're like, okay, my kid, like there's one called Pluto's Pajama Party. So Pluto comes in and they have like this black and white pillowcase, and they can color on it with like, markers or whatever. So kids wear their pajamas. That's usually at like, 9 o'clock at night. So you're like, okay, I definitely want my kid to go to that one. You still don't have to make reservations for that. You just show up at 9 o'clock and send your kid into the kids club. So it's super fun.
And I have to say, adults, go check it out. They have open house times where you can just go and explore.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, those hand washing stations are like the coolest things ever.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so fun. Oh, Pirate Night.
Okay, what's Pirate Night? So this is just one evening on most Disney cruises, because not all cruises have the Pirate Night, unfortunately. But a ton of the guests dress up as pirates. All the characters will have pirate outfits. The cast members will have special pirate outfits. They have a deck party that has fireworks. And they also do a pirate themed menu in your dinner restaurant. And then there's extra characters that come out like Captain Hook and Smee. So this is just one night or one day, I guess you could say, on your cruise that they dedicate to Pirate Night. So you don't have to dress up. A lot of people ask. Yeah. No, you don't. Some people do and some people don't. It's totally up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. But yeah, it's very fun.
So true. And if going on a cruise with Pirate Night is important, get with Megan, because she can help steer you towards which cruises do and don't have them. It's not cut and dry. Some might have a Frozen night, or some might have, there's a variety of other themes. So just get with Megan on which ones actually do have this, because it does vary.
Okay, so what is Olaf's Picnic or the Royal Court Royalty? So this is a special dining experience with gifts for the kids, and they have a private meet and greet either with Frozen characters for Olaf's Picnic, or if it's Royal Court Royalty, it'll be princesses. So this is an additional charge. This is an activity that you have to book and have a reservation for. But a lot of people ask about it, ask if it's worth it. It's expensive. I'm not going to lie. So I think if you have a really, really princess loving or Frozen loving child, then it is probably worth it to do it once. But if they're kind of just like, meh, then maybe not. So again, that's something I can talk to you about, and we can decide if you think it'd be worth it for you.
Yes, yes, definitely. Lots of ways to spend money on
Mhm.
board. So trying to decide if that is worth it or not. And speaking of other things, your girls look so precious in that picture.
So Bibbies Boutique, this is basically a kids salon. We kind of talked about it earlier. It's the same as in the parks. You have the fairy godmothers in training who transform your kids into princesses. They have Captain Mickey or Captain Minnie, and then also night costumes. So there's lots of different choices you have. And then they also have pirate makeovers that are available on Pirate Night. So it's super fun. We pretty much always do this on the cruises we go on. So my kids really love it. And my daughter is 12, my oldest. So the last time we went, it was the last time she'll be able to do it. So that was kind of sad. But
Yeah. Oh my,
yeah, I
I
was
was
still
gonna
happy she
say.
wanted to do it at 12 though. So
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she's getting to that age where you guys can start going to the chill teen spa
yes.
together and getting
Mhm. Now
manicures.
she'll definitely want like manis and petties. So
Oh yeah. Things to look forward to. And I did just want to know on Pirate Night, that is the one time that adults can
Mhm.
use the Bippity Boppity
Right.
Boutique, right?
So adults can do it on Pirate Night. They do allow adults for just the pirate ones. So yes, something to
Oh,
definitely think about.
absolutely. And the hot topic, Royal
Yes.
Gathering.
We get questions about this all the time. What is a
Yeah.
royal gathering? So this is a free ticketed event, allows you to meet 4 different princesses all at one time. So one thing I think Rebecca and I always say, if you don't get a reservation for this, do not panic because the princesses meet all throughout the cruise, just in regular meet and greet time. So you do not have to do the royal gathering to meet all the princesses. Do not worry. The royal gathering just makes it like a little more efficient because you have the 4 princesses in a line and you just go down the line and get to meet them one after another. Um,
Yeah.
so it's really a fun way to do it, but it's not necessary to meet all the princesses. So don't worry about it if you don't get one.
Yes, it's so true. I was going to say last year we had the Royal Gathering booked, and by the time it came around, because we did it on the second sea day, by the time it came around, we had already met 3 out of the 4 princesses.
Right.
So you really don't, like Megan saying, you don't need it, but it is nice, and I love the word efficient.
Yeah.
It is ticketed, and they move you right on through, and it's
Yeah.
easy peasy. Oh, the shows, so
So a
good.
lot of people ask about the shows. There are 3 unique Broadway style shows on every cruise ship. They have 2 shows per evening. So if you go to early dinner, you'll go to the late show. And if you go to late dinner, you'll go to the early show. So you always go to the one that's opposite your dining time. And you do not need to make reservations. You just show up and go in the theater, find a seat. Um, I will say somebody asked, can you go to, like, if you decide not to go to your dinner that time, can you go to the show that would normally be during your dinner? Yes, you can. You don't have to, you can pick whichever showing you want to go to. So if you had pizza at 4 p.m. and you're not hungry for dinner, you can go to the early show, even if you would have normally had dinner during that time. So
Yes, absolutely. And if you want tips on some of the best places to sit, having Megan as your travel agent
yeah.
is a golden tip for you right there because she has insight on some great seats in the theaters. And someone's asking if they still have arcades on board.
No,
Gosh,
no,
yeah,
they do not.
I was gonna say you're taking me back there, Mary, all the way back to my kid days on board the Disney cruises.
I know. I was a little sad too when they got rid of all the arcades, but no, they do not have arcades on there anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So fish extender. So this is basically a gift exchange with your fellow cruisers. So this is going to be organized. Um, most cruises have a specific group on Facebook that is only for their cruise group. So if you like, my next cruise is September 13th through September 20th, 2025. I'm already in my cruise group for Disney on Facebook. So fish extenders are going to be organized generally through there. And you'll get assigned a group of cabins usually, and you guys exchange gifts among each other. So fish extender is the actual name for this little pocket organizer that hangs from the little hook by your door. So you could do a whole thing
Yeah.
about fish extenders, but that's the basics of
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And going back to the shows for a second, somebody's asking what the shows are going to be on the Treasure.
So there is Moana, which I am super excited about. Moana is
So
my favorite.
excited.
So I
Yes.
was so excited when they announced that. I believe Seas the Adventure, and then is it Frozen? Is the
Frozen?
other one?
Yeah, I think Frozen's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I was going to say, you can't get rid of Frozen. The kids love it. Oh my gosh, that's it. We went through so much.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Megan, so much for taking us through the Disney Cruise Line 101. If you have any question, there's some more coming in. So what are the 2 dinner times again?
Okay, so first dining is, and again, this can be a little bit like European cruises are slightly different. I think Alaskan cruises are slightly different, but generally, first dining is 5:45 p.m. and second dining is 8 p.m. So, if you have really young kids and you're like, oh, I don't know if they can make it till 8 p.m., try to get first dining. But some have older kids and they want to stay up and do the late dining. So there's a lot to think about with that, but we can certainly talk it through and see what would be best for everybody.
Absolutely. And someone's asking, is the Moana show on any other ships?
Nope. That's a brand new show that they're putting together for the Treasure. So
yes.
very exciting.
I know. And we got so many great questions, but I feel like there are probably still going to be so many questions lingering. So if you are ready to book your Disney cruise, or if you feel like you just have more questions than when we started because you're so excited and want to get a cruise booked so you can kind of get into the weeds of all these things, reach out to Megan. She is here to help. Her planning services are totally free for you to utilize. So reach out to her, let her help you so that you don't have to worry about all these details. She can take care of so much of this for you so that you can focus on enjoying your cruise. But Megan, thank you so much again. If you're ready to reach out, that's the link to her page on the DCL community site on screen. And I'm going to get this in the comments for everybody as well. But reach out to her and get started on your planning. And then once you do, you have to let me know what cruise you booked, because I'm going to have to live through everybody who booked a cruise. But thank you so much, Megan. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see all y'all on board real soon. Bye guys.
Bye.